So to do a bit of read some of these comments that we've had on some of these videos. This one's that we'll start off with one from A-Tom-S, who said, "Who can really be sure of what's going on? Do we really know anything? From watching Danny for years and listening to the podcast, I think I like you guys, but this made me feel a strange feeling regarding this episode and what you guys said. I'm always skeptical when people think they know what's really going on, because the truth is you don't. You guys seem so sure that you've worked it all out, kind of like religion, right?" And to my first response is to actually read out another comment from Casey Falconer. She says, I've just seen a woman on BBC News. As much as I don't like to watch that channel my friend is watching, she was forced into prostitution in a country called Leone, where she escaped with her family at 16, got taken in by people and cared for. She unfortunately had 2 babies against her will before that age, before escaping. She now lives far away in the same country and works in a hospital and goes out giving condoms and pills to women and tries to help give the kids running water, which is only about 60 to 70% max, who have clean water to drink. Most are drinking muddy water from the river because they're so dry and get diseases from it. It's that sad to watch. I wanted to turn it off, but I kept watching it myself because this is what's happening in this great gift of life, so to speak. Most of these people she helps can't critically think because they're so malnourished and in survival mode. It's so sad to see. I understand I'm privileged and far off from sitting on my high horse thinking I know it all, because I don't, but the suffering is all over the world, and I just don't understand how people don't see that creating life into this world is wrong. It blows my mind. I'm also not going to pretend that when I'm in the moment, I'm think about all these things. Most of the time I don't and don't care. But as soon as it's brought to my attention again, it's staring me in the face. The only 100% fact I do have clear in my mind is that I will not procreate. This is completely clear to me. The other animalistic desires of everything else in this life, I'm still learning to overcome. But one thing is I know is once you've seen something, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, and I'd add 2 things. Number one is, we know for sure, this is what we 100% know. So if that commenter's listening, listen to this very clearly. Nobody can dispute the fact that if you don't bring a child into the world, if you don't, there's no possibility of that child being harmed. Yeah? We'd all agree on that. That's fact, yeah? If you don't bring an entity into existence, there's no possibility that entity can be exposed to suffering, pain, suffering, harm, whatever. So that's our position. We're saying don't bring the entity in. There's no need to. If you'd listened to any of the other podcasts, you would have heard me say over and over again, why breed when you already have a child inside to feed? You already have one inside. There's absolutely no need to bring a child into existence, apart from the fact that you want one. The parent wants one. They decide they want one. They want a plaything. They want something to play with. When Danny's asked people in the street why, these are the answers that come up. What else are we going to do? We're bored. Legacy. All this rubbish. You're already a legacy. Make a legacy. You make a legacy. Be creative in the world. Make a mark in the world if you so want to. You be the child that you're looking for. You're already the child. Have a look at all the psychiatrists and psychologists, Freud, everything. It comes back to childhood trauma. Everything comes back to child. So I'm saying, why breed when you already have a child to feed? Meaning to nurture properly, to bring out of PTSD. See, solve the CPTSD in yourself, the complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Everybody's suffering from it because the birth trauma. Have a look at Otto Rank's work on birth trauma. See, you'll see it there clearly. He puts it all back he goes beyond Freud. He says, no, it's not the sexual problem. It's the birth problem. Birth is the trauma that we're all suffering from. Being here, coming into being is the problem. That causes trauma. So I'm going back before. And if you want another answer, the second answer to that questioner is have a look at when where the problems came in. Well, I've already addressed that, the oxygenation event, the great oxygenation event. So I'm going back before this. The woman with the problem, that's terrible. And there's loads of them, as the guy said, there's millions of people suffering in the world. But I already know what the counter will be to that. If we lived as a family on Earth, those problems could all be solved because we'd all be loving each other and there wouldn't be any problems. People wouldn't exploit each other. So that is, yeah, for sure. If we all lived perfectly as a family, we'd all be helping each other and there wouldn't be a girl like that in trouble or a woman like that in trouble. But I'm going beyond that. I'm saying the life itself is a problem. It's problematic. Once heterotrophy came in and we left autotrophy, which is the ability to nourish yourself, which was the single-celled organisms, they were there in that state. Yeah, for sure, that was lovely. That was the state, it was lovely. There was no killing, there was no predation. The door was only open for mutation, and that's what took place. Even that's no good to have single-celled organisms, because then the door's open for mutation. The door's open for complex organisms to come into existence, and that's what happened. The door was left open for mutation. Mutation took place. Multicelled organisms came about, and then we had heterotrophy. Then we had predation. Then we have all this. Then it led to this. The complexity of life led to this. The mutation, the complex mutations along billions of years led to this situation. So I'm saying it's a stance against life itself coming into existence. We'd prefer that there wasn't any at all, and then it would be back to nothingness and everything beautiful. There we go.
Okay, so we've got Escape Demetrix, who says, Danny, you have convinced me of not wanting kids. I'm still only 36. Get well soon, mate. Want to see you on the megaphone again in London, waking the sheep up. Then Green Apple says, I would make a terrible parent. Thankfully, I realised this and plan to leave my unborn children in the world of the non-living. They can't come to any harm while they are there, which is obvious, right? It was what you just said. And furthermore, I brought this particular example up because, he's realised that he's admitting he would make a terrible parent. But so many people are having children thinking that they're completely deluded in thinking that they would make a good parent when they haven't even thought about what a good parent is.
It's even worse. It's mad.
Your daughter said it to us 3 months ago. Do you remember?
Why? Yeah, of course. But why do you even want a child? You've already got one yourself. There's one inside you that needs nurturing. It needs all of your attention. Everything. It needs all that you've got to throw at it for it to have a chance to be functional. Why are you even thinking of a second one?
Be a parent to
yourself. Be a parent, a very good parent to yourself. You need all the attention you can get. And you're not going to get it if you have a second one. If you have another one now, you've got split attention. You'll have one of the children are going to get neglected. And that's what we see. That's the reason why there's CPSD, there's CPTSD. That's the reason, because one of the children has been, or both, the parent and the child has neglected themselves. They've been neglected by their parents, then they have another one, and then they neglect that child because of work, because of pressure to make money, because of all the rest of the pressures. How can you do a good job here? How can you within this system? Even if the system was perfected, you've still got problems. Nature is still a problem. It still causes problems for people. So why do you need to, is my question. I'm not addressing any of those. That's downstream problem to me. Why do you need to have a child? That's the first thing. You've already got one. You are here yourself. Parent yourself, and it would just negate the need to have a child and parent the child.
Okay, I mean, along the similar lines, you're going to say the same thing, but we've got, Escape Demetrix. You said they're not having a child, but they're saying, what about the argument that pain and suffering grows the soul and deepens our understanding, allows for empathy and acceptance? A greater power has allowed pain and suffering for us to grow as humans.
So if you have got a penchant for pain, you're already here. You're already here. You have a good go at suffering. Enjoy your suffering and your pain. I'm not saying carry on. You're here now. There's nothing you can do about it. So if
you've been experiencing pain today, haven't you?
Of course.
With the core, you did some exercise.
Yeah. Everything's pain. It's all pain. No pain, no gain, they say. So you're right. You gain from pain in terms of exercise and all the rest of it. But we're here already. We're not talking about that's downstream. We're already here. We're talking about bringing someone in. Why would you bring someone in to experience the pain when they're not already here? They're not here now. They're not here. No one's crying to come here. You're here. See, so you go through your pain, complete your cycle of pain, and then close the door on it. There's the end of it. Finish. You don't bring someone else into pain when you know the experience is painful.
Okay, so Colin Crisp has made a comment about how difficult it is to sort of walk away from the system. And he said, here's a short story to show how hard it is to walk the pathless path. I left England to live in an ashram in Australia to get away from my family and all the ties there. But the people running the ashram were totally dysfunctional, husband and wife. He was shagging the girls, and his wife with 3 kids was using us to pay for her lifestyle and was a bitter person. I gave everything for that wife, house, business, and everything. And gurus in India are on the whole the same. So the traps are everywhere. There is a saying, be together, live together, let your minds comprehend alike. Sounds good, right? But hard to find those who really care for truth. I live in the bush alone, and the insights without distraction I've not found anywhere else. Your videos are good to listen to. I relive my life through them. Outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. A few comments there to make. Why Australia, of all places? I hope you've not travelled to Australia from UK halfway, around the world. What for? You've got beautiful places well within your reach. If you're from UK, I don't know where you're from. You see, it might be close. Yeah, okay, so he's from UK. So that's completely mad. It's crazy that you would even want to go to Australia to escape your family. You say it's to escape your family. That's too far. You don't need to go that far to escape your family. Just go to Alicante. I would suggest Alicante. It's 2 hours 25 on the plane. It's about 60 quid. In fact, you'll probably get it 30 quid if you go and book the ticket at the right time. It's a beautiful place. No one seems to have heard of it. It's crazy. They travel halfway around the world. You'll go right. So we've discussed it. Yeah. All right. Because everyone will be coming there. Yeah. But right. But it's a beautiful place. It's got everything that you're looking for in all of these so-called exotic destinations. Jamaica, Caribbean. I've been everywhere. I've been all around the world, and I can tell you that I wasted all my money. It's a complete waste of money. Rubbish. If you're looking for beaches, sunshine, nice quiet vibe, chilled, everything that you'd get in the Caribbean, it's right there in Alicante. It's just 2 hours, 25 minutes away from UK, 60 quid on the plane, no problem at all. It's got everything. It's got the infrastructure of UK, trams, buses, regular buses, trams, rail to take you to other places in Spain. Beautiful. Everything's there. The ashram, we don't even need to, that's madness. Of course, I understand it's probably a young guy and he's looking for a guru, etc. But you should know again that the guru's inside. You see, why look for a guru when you've already got one inside? All you need to do is to wake that guru inside. And there's loads of resources to be able to do that, to spark the guru within. You've got internet, you've got YouTube, you've got everything. You don't need to go to a physical place anymore. That's old school. That's 60s thinking. Old school 60s thinking. We're in the modern age now. You've got YouTube, you've got access to internet and everything. Everybody's online. You've got Sadhguru, if that's your penchant. You've got Osho, if he's your penchant. Everyone's online. You can listen to their lectures. That will spark the guru within. You don't need to go anywhere physically. Mistake.
Okay, thanks. So now we've got someone who says, without Einstein, your GPS would be off by kilometers every day. Hospitals wouldn't have PET scans. We wouldn't have lasers, but no barcodes, fiber optic internet, no nuclear energy either. He didn't invent these things himself, but he gave the scientific foundation they rest on. But we've got another comment who made a comment on that, Dictator7847, who said, and if it wasn't for us, then none of this shit should be needed in the first place. And therefore, Shine is greater than Einstein, which I thought was quite nice. Okay.
In response, I would say, just a quick one, have a look at Steve Cutt's animation regarding all of this stuff that you mentioned, all this so-called technological progress. Just have a look at one of, I think it's called Man. I think it's Man, M-A-N, just simple title, Man. I believe so. Steve Cutts. He's a genius. Yeah. He's a genius, yeah. He's an animator, but have a look at his film and that will explain why all of that crap is not necessary. We're just going in a circle. We're producing loads and loads and loads of crap. It'll probably wipe out the whole human race in the end because we don't know where to stop with it all. So none of it was necessary in the first place. We were quite fine before. Nice, simple living. That's it.
So now we've got the old chestnut. Why not spew this mental illness in Africa or Bangladesh instead of a country where birth rates are critically low already?
Yeah. Well, I believe it is on the internet. It's going out to all those places.
Yeah.
We would hope that it's being received by everybody in the world. See, we would hope that. That's why we're putting it online and not writing it in a book or something, and so it would never reach them. So it's going out everywhere. So no problem. That's already been done. I'm sure they're listening in Africa and Bangladesh.
Then we've got these are great podcasts, Danny. What do you think of Plato's Cave?
Very good, yeah. We've looked at that. What's
have we looked at
through Howdy's Work. Howdy Mikowski, is it? I think.
Yeah. Spoken so much about it, but maybe
we haven't spoken, but it's a great one. Yeah, it's beautiful, and it is exactly that. I've taken it further, like and rolled it into the antinatalism, because there's no need. The whole thing is you're trying to get out of this cave. It's a DNA cave. It's a cave. It's a programmed situation we're in. So that's the cave in my mind. I've interpreted that way. It's deeper than what. It's not just cultural. It's nature as well. So it's a nature culture cave. It's made up of two parts. There's nature that holds you in the cave, and there's culture that holds you in the cave. So it's two-pronged. There's two bars, or two sets of bars made out of, or you could say the bars are an alloy of nature and culture. That's what's holding you here. That once you see through that, then you've escaped the cave. But unfortunately, there's nowhere to go. You can't escape. And I refer you back to a previous podcast in relation to Plato's Cave, the film that I mentioned, THX 1138. That is a perfect kind of a beautiful film, which is really the same. It's Plato's Cave animated or in film form. So that's the thing I would tell you to watch. Watch that film. I think I recommended it before in a podcast for sure. It's one of my favorite films because it gives you no way out. You'll see it. When you watch it, you'll see the end is not what you would expect, you see, but it's beautiful ending. It's a realistic ending. That's what you're faced with. When you escape Plato's Cave, there is actually nothingness. That's what it is. See, and then you have to you got a choice. You either go back into the cave with all the people because you want social life, or you press on into the nothingness, into the barren landscape that the protagonist faced in the film. So I'd say just watch that film and it says it all. That says everything about Plato's Cave.
Talking of the film, there's a comment on that which says, what's sad is if what he is saying, that's you, what you're saying about Jesus and the other avatars who became enlightened, about the DNA con is true, then the religious systems that came about because of them completely go against any sort of enlightenment they may have been purveying, mostly due to almost all of them being life-affirming, replication-encouraging ideologies, right? Not to mention suffering justification, justifying suffering. Tragic if that is what is truly happened.
It is very tragic. Yeah, it's radically tragic. And that's what you have to wake up to. That's why the film THX 1138 is poignant, because it leaves you no happy ending. There's no happy ending to this game. Right. Enlightenment doesn't lead to fluffy clouds and wonderful heaven, as the Christians suggest. It leads to nothingness. It's complete obliteration. You're left in darkness. That's it. Then you have to reassemble yourself on the back end of that and find a reason to live for yourself individually, because there isn't any reason. There's no meaning at all to the whole thing. It's madness. That's why we say don't bring a child into this madness, because that's the result of it. Even if you wake up, it's still madness. It's even worse because everything's been obliterated. All meaning's gone. That's what the end scene of the THX 1138 film suggests. The protagonist gets out of Plato's Cave, he opens the hatch, he emerges on top of the surface of the earth, and it's been scorched. There's nothing there. Same as Planet of the Apes. Have a look at the end of Planet of the Apes. The same. The Charlton Heston protagonist in the film, what's he faced with at the end? See, he's on his knees at the end. He's in despair. He sees what's been done. There's nothing. There's nothing for him. There's no life beyond that, what he's seeing. This is just a complete desert, a complete wilderness. That's it. Unfortunately, that is what it is. So yeah, you're right. All of them are imposters. They're all leading you the wrong way. Everyone who's come before, Jesus, all of them, they all had it wrong. Jesus never mentioned antinatalism, not at all. He never mentioned it. Unless you want to infer from his statement, I am not of this world, or this is not the kingdom of God, then maybe there's a kind of inference to we shouldn't be here. We shouldn't bring children into this world because it's not the kingdom of heaven. It's not the perfect place. It's not the utopia. There is no utopia. The word utopia means no place. So it's there. All of the signs are there. If you look hard enough, you'll find them all. You just got to lift the carpet and you'll see everything. Utopia means no place. It literally means no place. So there is no place that's perfect. There is no place to be. So don't bring children into anywhere. Just leave them where they are in nothingness, in no place.
Okay, so on the Jesus one we did, we got some bored monkey, which is an interesting name for it, right? Who said, you guys are wrong about Jesus. The Bible are not his words. Right. So he didn't lose his shit in the temple. Right. But you see, I'm just going to very briefly speak to that. Yes. To bored monkey. We've already covered this. It doesn't matter whether he did or didn't. It's the story that we're commenting on. Right? We're just the story. It really doesn't matter. We're not interested in that. Anyway, then we did an episode called The Examine Life, which has just gone up, and DB01-14F says, your conversations are comforting. I feel better to know that there are other people out there who share my thoughts on life, and my life is not hard at all by any standards, but I still think it's a scam ultimately. I pat myself on the back for not procreating. It's the best thing I've ever not done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I second that. Yeah, for sure.
And he's saying he doesn't have a hard life.
Yeah, that's right. That's how you should come to it. There's two ways to come to truth: attrition and contrition. Attrition is not the preferred one because that's you being dragged there kicking and screaming with pain and suffering. People do come to it that way. They lose loved ones, they themselves get mangled, and then eventually they realize it's not worth being here. It was better that I wasn't born. It would have been better, as David Benatar says, that I wasn't born. But the best way is to come to it via contrition. You just realize, you analyze life, and you realize through analyzing it that it's not worth being here. No child should be brought here. You're here, yes. So we're not pro-mortalists. We're not saying you should kill yourself once you're here and you realize everything. You still got to you've got to be creative about finding a way to continue. Once you wake up, so to speak, as I said before, it's very painful waking up. It's very painful because you lose your friends, you lose everybody, everyone's invested in the game, and you wake up and, as Bored Monkey says, look at his title, Bored Monkey, you end up bored. You end up here chronically bored. There's no motivation to live. So you have to find that. You have to create that. That's the second half of your life. If you wake up halfway through, then you're in trouble. You've got another half of darkness, of wilderness in front of you, and you've got to find a reason to live, because there isn't any. For sure. Essentially, there's no reason or meaning to life. You have to create that. And that's the challenge of life. That's what I said to the American commenter who phoned up and wanted a reason for living. He found it a bit dark, what we were saying, and he wanted some reason to live. I gave him the reason. I said, game life. Game life. Imagine yourself as an athlete, you're a player, and you're in an immersive game. That's it. That's the only thing you can do. You have to create a reason to live. That's my one. I just see myself as an immersive character. I'm in a game. It's a crazy game for sure. Now, what am I going to do? I've got two options. Either I play the game with skill or I check out. There's the two options.
Okay, so now I think you're going to like this one. I think you're going to agree with it. The same guy we started this podcast with, who said, how can you be sure what's going on the ethics and aesthetics? We did one on ethics and aesthetics. He says, why did you go to Cyprus then? You should have just stayed at home.
Oh, exactly. Beautiful. I love that one. Yeah. And I'll address it. He's very good. That's very good. That's a beautiful point. And we've been talking about this. I was very resistant to going to Cyprus. You see, I was dragged there kicking and screaming because Danny insisted, and his brother, that we go there. But I had already said, look, what is the point of going there? For sure. What's the point of going anywhere? And if you listen to one of my previous podcasts where I was talking with me and Danny, I told you about the meta traveling, the virtual vacationing. That's my preferred method of travel. I just go on YouTube. I told you the guy's name, Brinsky, Drew Brinsky, I believe, Jewish guy, young guy. He's done it all. He's already been there for me. He's been to all the countries in the world. His channel is brilliant. Have a look. That's what I do. That's how I travel. Danny knows this. I'm resistant to go anywhere. I'm over it. I'm over travel. I've transcended it. There's no need for me to go anywhere because I've activated my mirror neurons. And I suggest everybody else try and do the same. It takes a while, but then they'll kick in. And it's exactly the same as going there. Once you've turned on that mirror neuron system, instead of the motor neuron, the motor neurons are the ones that you need to go there. That's the ones that require action to satisfy them. But you can satisfy the brain exactly the same way by just activating the mirror neurons. And then you can travel virtually through YouTube. They got the high definition videos now, the walking videos, tours of whatever country you want. Just punch in walking tours of anywhere you want to go to and have a look at. And it's exactly the same as being there on the ground. And I've even reverse engineered that process. I've been to Alicante and then I've come back from Alicante and then watched the videos. The high definition walking tours of Alicante. And there's no difference, zero difference. After coming back from there, I've walked the same streets virtually, and it's exactly the same. And now I've trained my mind to see the two as the same, to feel the two as the same. So I can feel as if I'm there just by viewing it. So that's it. That's the answer to your question. You're right, though. Good for picking it up, though. Very good.
I mean, I disagree with you, and we'll just have to agree to disagree, which is, for me anyway, I think you and I are different, and everyone's different. For me, it was a very valuable experience for many reasons. Number one, I got out of what I would say is a rut that I was in at my home with my family and in this country in general. Number two, I because I've lost my thyroid, I've lost some of my, it's uncomfortable. Cold is uncomfortable for me and warm is very good for me. So it affects my mood right. So, and I think, I still think it helped maintain a good level of vitamin D, but it also affects my mood personally. And going in the sea every day also, I feel is good for me. So those are three of the benefits. And I was in a very quiet place as opposed to London. And I'm not 100% sure about the pollution, because if you look the pollution up, the pollution seems better in London than it is where we were. But leave that out for a moment. But those other things for me were beneficial.
Yeah, so the first one was the escape from the family, you see. So that is a driving motivator for the holiday. I haven't got that, you see, and I suggested to Danny that you solve that. That's the core problem, because then you can really judge whether you need to leave or not a place. If you're running from something, of course, you're going to be driven to go somewhere else. You see, now I would say deal with that core problem. Deal with the family dynamic that's upsetting you. That friction there needs to be got rid of. Once you get rid of that friction, now you can really be clear-minded about whether you need to go anywhere or not. I find no problem being here in UK. I love it here. The temperature's fine. Everything's good for me. Winter's a little bit crisp, but it's okay for me. I suffer that because I like that. There's so many benefits of being in the UK for me personally. And I've been all around the world, so I've satisfied all of that. And I've not seen anywhere where I've been that's better than here for me personally. So I'm not driven by any negative kind of drivers. I've got no negative drivers. Now, what would pull me is if there was somewhere really beautiful that was better than the UK for me. It felt more like home than the UK does. Then I'd be pulled to go there rather than running away from something, driven by something horrible that I'm running away from. That would be my pull, but I've never found nowhere at all. All the places that I've seen are basically the same, and I've been to many places, so I can see now what the game is. It's just pattern recognition. Trees, coconut trees, palm trees, beach. These are the things that attract people to go to a place. When you ask them what they're going for, if they could unpack it, they'd notice there's patterns. They're going for trees, mountains, lovely sunny place, beach, etc. You see, that's not my thing. I've seen all of that, so it doesn't do it for me anymore. What I prefer now is electric people. I want magical people, which they're very rare in the world. So you don't find them when you go around even anywhere. There's no place where they're all dwelling. See, magical people, what I call magical people, turned on people, bright people, electric people, not the generic people, the ones that you get the stock answer from. They go to the same restaurants, they buy the same t-shirt, they travel for the same reasons. You want individuals, creative individuals. That's what turns me on. That's my sunshine. That's where I get my vitamin D from. That's my electricity. And I don't find that abroad. I've not found that abroad. I've been to many countries and never found anyone extraordinary in any country. But I've found many extraordinary people online. See, there's a difference. So I choose to travel online. I get my stimulus from the online thing, the YouTube, etc.
Okay, so I think we will stop there. And if you have anything else you want to ask us, then write it in the comments and we will address it if we think it's worth addressing.